Hey, and welcome to Doc Rides. We're gonna go for a ride on Goldwing, I guess, and do another little story hour while the weather is good. Oh, she's a bit dusty. Not too dirty though. Want to take a second to thank you guys again for liking and subscribing and watching the videos and all that stuff. Like, you know, this is not highfalutin content. This is a guy who loves riding motorcycles, basically telling you stories while I ride. So if you're new to the channel, I think I pretty much just summed it up. My GoPro is stuck on my jacket here. real high quality content, obviously. Yeah, this isn't, I'm not going to be able to give you like expert opinions about the bike or about anything mechanical whatsoever, but you know, we'll just have a chill ride along, and maybe I'll tell you a couple stories. I can tell you a couple things that are bothering me on this bike. Why don't we start with that and just get the motorcycle stuff out of the way? If that's what you're here for, we'll get it over with. So I'm 6'3", just about 6'3", and I weigh about 240 pounds. When I'm trim, I'm about 210 pounds. And, you know, I used to be in pretty good shape. I'm not really anymore, obviously. I'm kind of fat. But, you know, I've got a big frame kind of thing is what I'm getting at. The backrest, the driver's backrest on this bike, I'm not sure why, but it just is a little bit too small. Like, it just pushes me a little bit too far forward, and I don't think it's removable. I saw another video. I saw a guy reviewing a 2024, and it did not have the backrest on it, and there was like a plastic piece, like an ovoid plastic piece that goes in the hole that the backrest is coming out of. I'm tempted to take this backrest off. So if you guys could direct me, I've looked on wingstuff.com. If any of you guys are Goldwing owners yourselves, if you could direct me to a video of somebody doing that. I couldn't find anything like how to get this thing off. And it looked like, I mean, they were reviewing a new bike from the factory, so I'm not sure if this backrest is aftermarket. It's a weird material that matches the seat. Okay, that gets to point number two. Anyway, that's one thing. Point number two is the seat material. The seat is, a lot of reviews say it's uncomfortable. I don't find that's the case, but the material is, it's hard to explain, but it's like really easy to scratch. It's almost like an ultra suede or something. I don't know why they didn't use the regular sort of vinyl or leather. I don't know, maybe this is more long-term weather resistant, I'm not sure. Or maybe it was just a styling choice. And I thought about, oh well, maybe I'll get an aftermarket seat for it. A lot of people have. It's not that I dislike it, it's that it marks up really easily. It is comfortable, but I thought about getting an aftermarket seat, but then I actually, you know, where I live, it's pretty damn cold like a lot of the year. So what I kind of like is the multiple settings for seat heating that are available on this guy. I'm gonna put the windscreen up so it's not too noisy. Sorry about that. Sorry if there was a lot of wind noise there. Anyway, the aftermarket seats don't seem to have that nice option of putting up the you know, having the different settings on the seat heater, because sometimes, you know, you want it on a little bit, say a summer night, it's been a little cool, maybe there's a little dew upon your motorcycle, but sometimes you want it on a lot, say it's October or November. And I don't know, I don't really want to settle. I'm a man of comfort as well as a man of leisure. I'm not actually that much of a man of leisure. I work pretty hard, but I would like to be a man of leisure. Anyway, so those are two things I'm not crazy about. The third thing, and I like, this is like, I don't know, I like it and don't like it. I like the styling, but it looks it's a little bit plastic fantastic, if you know what I mean. Like, there's no metal to be found on the bike. And I've mentioned it before, but this section here, this I don't know, matte, it's not even matte plastic, it's like just plain black plastic. I kind of wish they'd done like a pearl paint on it or something. Like, they could still make it black and have some sparkle in it, or have it finished. It just looks unfinished. I don't know. Having said that, man, the ergonomics are great, and I do like the way it looks. Every time I look at it, I'm like, oh, that's a cool bike. So anyway, that's it for complaints. I mean, I don't have any bikes that I don't have any complaints about. The stuff I love on this, the ergonomics, the mirrors are awesome. Like, the stability is great, the handling's wonderful. You know, the weight makes you feel very planted, as opposed to the weight making you feel like you can't handle the bike. And I think it goes back to, in the car world, because I also like cars, if you know, like the Nissan GTR, when it came out, the newest, not the newest, but like in 2009, whatever that was, they did a, it could compete with like a Porsche 911 Turbo, and even though it was way heavier. And I think the weight of the car and the all-wheel drive really kind of helped keep it planted, and so they used the weight to their advantage instead of their disadvantage. So anyway, that's my take on the bike. I'm going to stop talking about the bike because I'm sure to irritate somebody, and I'm sure to say something wrong. I did have another video a couple weeks ago where I talked about my first bike, which was a Suzuki Madura 1200. And somebody was in the comments was rather pissed off at me. They were like, it didn't have 130 horsepower, it had 117, and it wasn't nearly as fast as a Magna and a VMAX. I mean, he was right. I was talking out of my ass, but I was trying to guess how much horsepower that thing had. And he was giving me quarter-mile times and stuff, and I appreciate the feedback. Like, I'm not saying you're a bad person for doing it. You know, it's good because otherwise people might be confused. But don't take anything I say without a nice grain of salt, especially if it's like me trying to remember technical specs on a 1987 motorcycle. The reason I thought it was like the Magna and the VMAX, it was really just because they were all Japanese-made liquid-cooled V4s, kind of like power cruiser type motorcycles. It also was really fast as a beginner bike. Oh, that's a cool bike. I'm thinking of getting a Kawasaki Z900. I think they look so cool. Not the retro-styled ones either. The modern-styled ones. Man, I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm not getting anything more this year. I've like spent my wad. So I don't know if you saw the Yamaha Viking video. The sound's not great on it. It was just using a cheaper microphone. But I was talking about our fishing camp, and basically the camp is on top of this, well, it's on like a lawn, but there's a cliff, and the cliff goes down to the river down here. And we the people who own the land up above me on the hill had clear cut, and then a ton of water ran off, and sadly my cliff, a lot of it sloughed down into the oh, I thought I smelled some rotting meat. That was a giant porcupine. A lot of it sloughed down into the like onto the rocks on the beach. And so I have this huge construction project that's about to start. They're going to basically level the cliff so that they're putting like these big concrete blocks down to make a wall, and then they're building a ramp that goes down, and then another wall on the outside of the ramp. And that should help us like launch kayaks and stuff a little easier, because right now it's too steep and the stairs are pretty intense getting up and down the stairs, and trying to bring kayaks up and down them is like no good. But it's also, it costs as much as like a Honda Accord to get this done. So between that and buying this motorcycle and buying the side-by-side and a enclosed trailer this year, I think as much as I love new stuff, especially motorized new stuff, I think I better hit the brakes for a while. Anyway, I fell down the stairs. That's the first story I wanted to talk about. So I talked about it a little bit the last time, or 2 times ago when I did one of these ride-alongs. I work in New Brunswick, and I love New Brunswick. How could you not, I mean, other than the dead animals, how could you not love, like, look at the scenery. This is one of the most, honestly, one of the most beautiful places I've ever been in the summer. That's a Canadian thing. And it's home, and I grew up here, and it's always just been in my blood that, like, this is home. That's the Kennebecasis River over there, and I grew up on that river, and I rode, and I kayaked, and I boated, and I don't know, things were good back then. My dad was an engineer, and he worked at NBTEL and Irving Oil. He never made a ton of money, like, they didn't pay a lot in those days for what he was doing, but even on his income, like, we had a really good life. You know, it was like motorcycles and boats and trips every couple of years, and my mom was a teacher who quit teaching to raise us when my brother was born, 3 years after me, and then she went back to supply teaching. But, like, we were never like a wealthy family. We were just comfortable, I guess, sort of middle class, and that's what's sad about Canada right now. I'm getting sidetracked like hell, but you know, they keep saying we're helping the middle class and those working hard to join it, but they're decimating the middle class, and, like, kids can't get jobs because of the immigration policies make it more favorable to hire temporary foreign workers, and I don't know, it's just, I just wish somebody with a brain was in charge, or somebody with good intent at least was in charge. I'm not even convinced these guys have good intent. Anyway, this is not a political ride-along. Don't worry, that's all I'll say about it. I'm just frustrated. But so I came back to New Brunswick when I finished my fellowship, and God, I love it here, and I love the patients, and I love the hospital, and I love my colleagues, but the work is, like, extremely intense. We're really short on doctors, and it's been brutal since the pandemic. I would say on average I work 70 plus, maybe 80 hours a week. I do a lot of call work, so I'm on a lot of nights, and when we do, like, a weekend of call, a lot of weekends I do, I'm going to turn into Hampton here, just so you know where I'm going. Hampton, Kingston Peninsula. I'm actually going to go out towards Belle Isle too. So we're going to have a little adventure here today. So when I'm on call, like on a weekend, I might start work Friday morning at 8 and finish Monday afternoon at 4. Yeah, it can be, I mean, that's a lot of work. That's a lot of time in the hospital. And the reason I'm kind of bringing it up is that we're situated, if you know East Coast Canadian geography at all, we're right beside Nova Scotia. Like, I'm about a 4-hour drive, 3.5 hours to Halifax, and then another hour, 45 minutes or thereabouts from Halifax to the Annapolis Valley. The Annapolis Valley is absolutely gorgeous. Like, it's like this, but potentially, if you weren't from here, it's maybe even a little bit prettier than this. It's very lush, lots of wine, like vineyards. Not that I drink, but you know, when you see a place with vineyards, it's always pretty, like the rolling hills covered in grapevines. I love that look. And just a beautiful place. It's much less populous, like, it's much less populated than my area here, and it's a lot less than Halifax, but it's close enough to Halifax that you're always you know, you're always able to go. You could even go after work if there was, like, a hockey game or a basketball game you wanted to see or whatever, or a concert, or you wanted to go shopping. I don't know. You know what I'm saying. What am I? I'm just talking my ass. I'm not talking to fill in the time. I do the ride to fill in the time, and then I talk to just I don't know, to hear the sound of my own voice, like the most obnoxious kind of person, you know. Sorry, I'm not like this without the, you know, when I'm not doing videos, I shut my mouth and I'm just quiet. Anyway, so they had offered me a job last summer. I actually went up and did a locum for them, and man, I loved it. Like, I loved working there. The work was a lot easier. And the thing is, Nova Scotia pays doctors way more than New Brunswick. Like, it's not even close. It's like a 26% difference. And the way you get paid for each case that you do. So if I do a procedure here that pays $50 and I do it there, it pays like $65. It's like a major difference. And because you get that difference in pay, you don't end up working as much. Are they crossing the road, these little kids? Yeah. I won't talk to myself while they're crossing, so I don't want them to think I'm a nutcase. That's a good looking ice cream. That place is called Snow's. Kids love it. Actually, adults love it too, as you can see. You get the toe-headed children and the cotton-top grandparents always take the kids there. This is such a beautiful town. I would like to live here if I didn't have to be 15 minutes away from the hospital. This is probably where I would live. Anyway, so I went and did a locum there for a week, and I friggin' loved it. And I got along so well with the guys who worked there, and I made more in that week than I would make in like 8 days of work at home. And I was done work on time. I was done at 4. This was just like an 8 to 4 day. Like it was unbelievable. And there were lunch breaks, and it was so low stress. I don't know. Anyway, they offered me a job, and I really thought about it. But my mom lives here, and my wife's mom lives here, and she's had a lot of health issues. And my dad died in 2018, and my mom is, you know, she's independent, but I felt really bad about potentially leaving. So in the end, I would kind of ask my son, which is never the right thing to do. And he was like 10 at the time, turning 11. And he said, "Dad, I know you'll make more money there, but I would give you, if I had $1 billion, I would give it to you to stay here." So when I realized how important it was to him at that time, I called them and turned down the job. Since then, they hired a friend of mine who works here, and so we're shorter staffed, which is fine. I'm not like trying to shame the guy. He's a good guy. And he just moved to Wolfville, and my son is in a basketball camp, the Acadia basketball camp, this week. And so the weekend before, he and my wife were going to stay at an Airbnb, but they could only get it on the Sunday. So I just planned to bum around here with them, and then they were going to drive up on, you know, Sunday morning. But I talked to my friend who moved there, and he said, "Well, why don't you guys stay at our house? Like, we have this big house with like a spare room in the basement." Sorry for the burp. I got the hiccups. I ate Lebanese food at lunch. That's really a little uncomfortable. I got to crack the helmet now. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, so my friend Derek asked me to come up and stay with him, which I was happy to do. This is the Kennebecasis River that we're crossing now, and my son and I bass fish down here with his step-grandfather. He's a good little fisherman. Anyway, okay, so having said all that, I'm going to go straight here. We're going to go towards Belle Isle. That's where we're going. This place is great for like ice cream and like farmers market style groceries. So Derek offered to stay with us, or offered us to stay with them for Saturday night, and I agreed because I kind of wanted to go up and see them again. Like I don't know, I don't want to burn the bridge. I wanted them to know too, like I really thought about that job. I think they thought I had just gone and like kind of left them hanging for a while and never intended to take it, but I was like, I was there. We were gonna go, and then Jack was the deal breaker, and I don't regret it. I mean, it's been good to be here this year, but it's, you know, professionally it was a much better job. Anyway, so I was happy to go up. So the morning we were going on Saturday morning, you know, it's always chaos, so we had to take 2 cars, getting everybody out of the house. We had to deal with the dog. My mom came to get the dog, and then And then Chrissy forgot her bag upstairs, and she called up to me, "Hey, can you get my bag when you come downstairs?" No problem. But the thing was, I had my phone open. I was just like, I had a work email that I had to send before I left. And so I had my phone in one hand and her bag in the other hand, and I started coming down the stairs. And the other day I screwed up my knee, and it got real lax. My right knee just felt unstable. And as I was coming down the stairs, my knee didn't lock in full extension, and I missed a step about 5 stairs from the bottom. And I just fell, like I somersaulted down the stairs. And I tried to throw her luggage clear, but I think I actually landed on it on my back. And I hit my head on the tiles at the bottom of the stairs. I was in a mess. Like, I was in a daze. I was really sore. My back was really sore. I still think I might have broken a rib or cracked a rib. Like, it's pretty tender to cough still. This is like a week later. Anyway, all that aside, it's actually getting quite a lot better. So maybe it's not a broken rib, probably just a bruise. But Chrissy was like, do you need to go to the hospital? I said, no. Like, I told them I was going. I really don't want to make a bad impression on these guys. And like, I'd feel like I was like, I don't know, bailing, and they wouldn't believe that I hurt myself, and it would be like making an excuse. So I didn't take her up on it. I said, no, I'm going. And the drive there is, about close to 5 hours. I got about 2 hours into the drive. We were just coming through Salisbury. And I had Jack in my car, and he said, "Can we stop and get something to eat?" And I said, yeah, for sure. So we went into Dairy Queen, and I was sitting there eating a grilled chicken sandwich. I am trying. I'm making some effort to lose weight. And I was eating the sandwich, and I thought, oh my gosh, I really have to pee. It was the weirdest sensation. Like, all of a sudden, I had to pee like crazy. And I went to the bathroom, and I just peed pure blood. It was just like bright red hematuria. And I thought, oh my God, I've lacerated my kidney on the stair fall. Like, it was so uncomfortable. And I obviously felt that way because I probably had bladder spasm. You know, blood is really irritating to your bladder. Anyway, so I told Chrissy, but I shouldn't have told her about it. She was like, "You need to go to the hospital." I said, if I go to the hospital here, like, everybody I know who's gone to this hospital in Moncton has had to wait for hours and hours. The ambulances wait like 17 hours to unload patients, and then half the time you might end up leaving in a box, is all I'm saying. It's not that the doctors are bad, it's just that there are none of them. So I said, look, if it goes away on its own, I'll be fine. But I'd rather go to the hospital in Nova Scotia than here, if it comes down to it. But I wouldn't let Jack drive with me anymore because I was worried, like, if I'm really bleeding, I'll pass out, and then, like, I'll pull over, like, you get lightheaded. And I wasn't lightheaded. But, you know, I just didn't want him to be in the car with me in case something awful happened. So we got about another 15 minutes down the road, and all of a sudden I started having the worst spastic pain I've ever had in my life in my back, and I knew exactly what it was. The blood clot had gone down the pipe from my kidney towards my bladder and gotten lodged there. And it's working like a renal stone, and like a kidney stone. And I just had this crippling pain. But I knew it wasn't a stone. I knew I had been bleeding, and I knew where the blood was coming from. And so I called Chrissy. I said, I gotta go to Mom's cottage. I can't help it. So I pulled into Mom's place, peed blood again for a while, drank a ton of water. The pain got worse, and then all of a sudden the pain let go, and then I had to pee again, and then it was over. I never really had any blood after that I could see. So I laid there for a bit because I just wanted to make sure that it was over, and a bit being like 2 hours. I actually fell asleep while I was lying there, and then we still had a 3-hour drive, so we left again. Like, again, they were like, you just don't go. And but I felt so bad. I like, someday I might want to work there. I don't know, so I didn't want to make a bad impression. So I went, and we ended up, it was fine. Like, I had a good weekend. It was nice to see my friends again. And I felt kind of stupid for turning down the job, but you know, that's the way she goes. My friend told me, look, there's another job coming up. So the question is, can I give up all this? And I don't know the answer. I don't know. I love this place and I love my home, and also, like, our house is worth 1/3 of what it would be worth in Nova Scotia. So there's, you know, financially it's not immediate gratification. Even though I get paid more for less work, it would take a couple of years to catch up because of the house. I just don't know. I don't have the answer. Life doesn't give you answers, it just gives you choices. Anyway, that was kind of the story of falling down the stairs. And I still don't know what to do. I love Annapolis Valley. I love Nova Scotia. Like, I used to love British Columbia a lot, and I lived there, but now, I don't know. The cities are so rough now. Like, drug addiction has really hurt this country, almost like the opium wars hurt China back in the day. That's kind of what's happening here. Like, it's turned a whole generation of kids, like, have so many drug issues compared to when I was a kid. Anyway, very sad. But those big cities are, I don't know, I don't want to raise Jack in a big city. We had a job offer in Kelowna, and if you've ever been there, again, wine country, it's the most beautiful city. It's the most beautiful place in British Columbia. But Kelowna's a little bit rough now. Like, it's not like here where, I don't know, is it just that it's a homogeneous population here? But we have tons of drug addicts, but I don't know, it still feels safer out here for Jack, for kids. It's not, I don't worry so much about me, but like, my wife is only 5'2". I got a kid who loves sports and stuff, and I don't want him to piss off the wrong person. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, so all these things are going through my mind right now. But I thought I might as well tell you another embarrassing fall story. When I went to my residency in Halifax, there are two major hospitals there. There's the Victoria General and the Halifax Infirmary. And the HI is like the modern hospital, and the VG is like the old hospital. But they both have like good equipment, modern features and stuff. The VG is hot, I will say. Like the AC, I'm not even sure there's air conditioning there. So it was hot and stuffy, but I mean, when you live there and you go every day, you stop noticing that kind of thing, I guess. But in the winter, like, we always had to go back and forth between the two hospitals, so we would have rounds. Like, I was in a very academic residency, so we had rounds, you know, at least once a day. And oh, there's also the IWK, the Children's Hospital is there. We had all these rounds, and you always had to go between the hospitals, but because all the parking spots filled up first thing in the morning, you always had to walk. There was no shuttle that I'm aware of. Like, we just walked. Anyway, one of the girls in my residency program, Dr. S, was like an absolute brainiac. She had her PhD. I think she was doing her postdoctorate fellowship at the same time as her residency, which is brutal. Residency is really hard. Our specialty, it was insane. Like, the call was intense and frequent, and the amount of studying was unbelievable. I can't believe I got through it. But anyway, Dr. S was doing this fellowship, or postdoctoral fellowship, and so she had meetings outside of just our rounds meetings. She had meetings at the you know, at the opposite hospitals because of her supervisor and stuff. She had to meet with them. She was doing like physics stuff. Oh, we're back into pothole country, damn it. I think I'm coming up to a place where I can get back on the highway home, but I don't actually know for sure. I think I'm coming up to Norton. It's pretty though. This is my favorite drive. Favorite ride, I should say. I'm going to slow her down just because the road's getting a little worse and there's no one behind me. So the other thing about my residency program, the staff were quite prim and proper. Like, there was nothing really collegial about it, I wouldn't say. They were nice, I liked them, but you know, it was all very professional. And I currently wear like jeans and a t-shirt to work. I don't care what I look like. I wear scrubs when I see people, but you know, I'm just not a good looking guy. You can't dress up, you can't put lipstick on a pig. But there I had to like dress up every day for residency and stuff. So one morning I was well, this goes back actually. It's kind of a complex story. I should tell it the whole thing. So okay, I think I do want to go to Highway 1. I would love to just keep going, go all the way to Cornhill Nursery and that kind of thing, but I think I better. I'm getting a phone call. I'm just going to ignore it. Gotta wave to all the bikers. So when my wife moved to Halifax to live with me, we were just, you know, we were just dating at the time. I lived in this like pretty small house. I'd rented a house when I found out she was coming, and in the entryway there was a really narrow stairway. This is the tight turn, and there's a dog that always chases me up here. It could be dead now. I haven't been here in a couple of years. Oh, this is Norton, by the way, which is a pretty area. Ooh, okay. So when they came to move Chrissy in, they had to put her box spring up the stairs, her bed and box spring, but the stairs were too narrow and there's a railing on it. So to get the box spring up, they had to cut the railing off the staircase. Oh, maybe this is the dog. Oh, he's inside anyway, if he's still alive. Oh, that was nice. This is a liquor store, this Irving station. I won't self-incriminate, but I will say that kids in high school would often go there to buy liquor in the 1990s. So they cut the railing off our stairs anyway, back to the story. And the morning after she moved in, I was coming down with a load of laundry. I was just going to start my laundry before I went to work, and I reached out for the railing and it wasn't there, and I fell off the staircase and landed in the laundry basket face first, and I broke my tooth. My front tooth was chipped. So I showed up looking like Lloyd from Dumb and Dumber, and I didn't have a dentist, so I looked like that for quite a while. Like a significant period of my residency, I was missing half my front tooth. But the other thing I was going to tell you about Dr. S, so she was walking from the Halifax Infirmary back towards the IWK to meet with her supervisor, and I was walking from the Victoria General towards the Halifax Infirmary. And I had a backpack on full of books. Like you basically studied textbooks every chance you could. And it was the middle of winter, and I slid on the ice, and I did one of those whoop, 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 and then I slipped backwards, and I fell with my back on the backpack. And I was wearing a big, thick winter jacket. It was like minus 30 out, and I could not right myself. I was like a turtle flipped on its back. And she walked up, she was walking the other way, and she saw me do this, and I made this like yelling noise, like wah, ah, oh no. and yeah, so I kind of rolled one way and couldn't get off the backpack because I had like 3 big thick textbooks in it, and then I rolled the other way and couldn't get off the backpack. And she came over and she just stood over me. She didn't even offer me a hand or anything. She just looked at me and said, "What are you doing?" I said, I fell, damn it. Anyway, that's that story. Halifax was a fun place to live, man. Like, I used to, I had no shame about being a loner and doing things on my own. I used to go to the movie theater on my own a lot, and there was a place called Pete's Fruitique that was close to the movie theater, and they did like build your own salad, and like this is pre-massive inflation, so you could build like a really good salad for 10 bucks. And I used to sneak salads into the movie theater, and so I went to see Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. I snuck this big salad into the movie theater. I was still wearing like my doctor name tag and all that stuff. And about a third of the way through the movie, this guy came in and said, "Excuse me, doctor?" And I thought somebody had had a heart attack. I was like, "Yes?" He said, "You really can't bring in outside food. We've had some complaints about the smell of your," and he looks down, "salad." So somebody must have said, "There's some asshole doctor with his name tag on back there who's eating a fucking stinky salad." There's the onions. I don't know. Back then I could eat them. Anyway, look, I'm going to sign off now. This is just a highway drive back. I'm going to get gas, and then we'll leave it at that. Thanks again for liking and subscribing. I guess it really helps the algorithm, and not that I'm ever going to do this for a living, but it's kind of fun knowing there are people who don't mind this kind of ride-along storytelling type of video. I mean, they're obviously fairly easy to produce, but I do put a little bit of work into them. Let me know if the music levels are too high, or the voice is like clipping, or if the video quality is not great. Just tell me. I did have one that was kind of pointed too far down that way. It's just weird, like with the GoPro, because I can't see what it's recording. I'm just trying to guess at the angles and that kind of thing. I might do a different bike next, just to mix it up a little bit, but there will be lots of Goldwing content. I mean, it's not like I'm giving you a great insight into this motorcycle. It's just I'm obviously not an expert, but people seem to like the Goldwing, and I gotta tell you, man, I've never had a bike that was as comfortable as this. This is just a beautiful way to see the countryside. I said it before, and I'll say it again. It's a mix between a sport bike, a cruiser, and a Mazda Miata. So for now, you guys, ride safe, take care of yourselves. Oh, nice big juicy bug splatter on the windshield there. And I probably won't get out next week. We've got a hurricane coming, so I wanted to get this one done sooner rather than later, but hopefully the algorithm doesn't punish me too much if I'm not a regular uploader, because what the heck are we going to do in the winter? I'm not just going to make content for the sake of talking either. Like, I like this format. I like to, you know, tell stories and ride the bike. But you guys just let me know your thoughts. What kind of videos you'd like to see. If there's somewhere in New Brunswick you'd like me to go and show you, I'm happy to do it. Maybe we can go to the Hopewell Rocks. We could go to St. Martin's. That'd be a good ride. Maybe that's the next one we'll do. St. Andrews is beautiful too. I actually have to go to Miramichi too. So all kinds of stuff to come up, I guess that was a complete sentence. And yeah, stay safe out there, guys. All right, see you later. Bye bye. If I can find the button. Bye bye.